Hey, welcome back, guys. Tonight, I just got down here, and I think it's about time I gave you guys a proper introduction to Rufus, as well as, well, we had an incident last week with it, so I'm gonna try to ungoof the goof I goofed last Sunday. So the issue that we had last weekend was I just built the new to me. I just rebuilt a 600 Holly to slap on this thing until it gets a big block. And the big block's still to be determined. But what happened was, and I know you can't see very well, needle and seat stuck on the primary bowl, and I lost a cylinder down, and it hydro-locked the engine, and not good things. But luckily, able to yank the spark plugs and drain the cylinders and spin it freely without any plugs in it. So let's see if we can get it started again tonight and get it up into the garage and get some light on it, see if we can tell a little bit better about what we're doing. Well, it appears though doesn't want to run, quite obviously. But I'm going to do what I was wanting to do inside the garage out here, and that's throw a fresh set of plugs in it. And then, on the off chance that the junk runs after I put a set of plugs in it, get it up in the garage, change the oil on it, just kind of erase what happened last weekend. But anyway, got these NGK TR6s. You can tell because of the way that it is. But all right, who did it? Whose idea was it to let me grab the wrong plugs off the shelf? You know, UR5, TR5. They're right next to each other on the shelf. Like, what gives? What guy? Was it you, Derail? Talking to you, the Derail that spells his name like Daryl but pronounces it Derail? I think it was you. Anywho's. Right plugs found. Small block plugs, not LS plugs. Let's get a set of plugs thrown in this thing so maybe we can get it into the garage this evening. got a fresh set of plugs in, checked fuel pressure just to see, just to check more or less, but running about 6 psi right now. I'm gonna drop that down just a hair. And then see if we can get this thing fired up and get it in the garage tonight for some more maintenance. So I'm going to start this off by saying, if you've got a Holley regulator that comes with like a Holley blue pump or something like that, or are thinking about buying one, don't. They are horrible. What are we at? You tell me. Is that 5.5? I think that's 5.5. All right, I suppose it's that time. It's in here. It's not happy, but it's in here. I'm gonna start changing the oil because that's the problem, definitely the problem. And then let's try to figure out why the transmission's not doing transmission things. Hopefully it's just some loose pan bolts and low on fluid. That's what I'm gonna tell myself anyway, but let's just dive in. Now, it got pretty late last night, and I didn't get anything done at all, so get this thing up on ramps, get the oil swapped out right quick. Now, I am not thinking this is a if there's gas in the oil situation. I'm looking at this as a how much gas is in the oil situation. Before I pull the drain plug, let's just a touch over full. You can kind of tell it's just a little bit over full. Let's see. What? Oh, there he goes. Can I do it? Can I do it? Well, just missed the drain plug completely. Seems legit. I think the oil's running just a little bit rich. In fact, that doesn't feel like, I think it was probably 2050. Doesn't feel like that at all. Feels like about whatever the new Toyotas take, basically water. Except, you know, with a Toyota, it's actual oil and not fuel. Our oil of choice for the day, Valvoline, this VR1 stuff. Mainly because it's got a zinc additive in it for a hydraulic flat type of cam. And then for an oil filter, I chose a Witch Racing for one very specific reason, and that was because I thought they came with stickers in the box, but open the box, no sticker. So got a Witch Racing filter with no sticker in the box. So I'm gonna get this tossed on right quick and then finish up this oil change, move on to something else. It's an old funnel. I'll put this. So transmission pan bolts are all tight, which leads me to believe my problem is elsewhere, which is not good, but we're just going to ignore it for now. Anyway, let's get this thing down on a level and check the transmission fluid, see where we're at, see, I know it needs some, but see how low it is, see how potentially big our issue is. So see if we can get this thing fired up this morning and get it back down off these ramps, see if we can figure out a transmission issue. While waiting for this thing to unflood itself once again, let me tell you a little bit about Rufus. So this car has actually been in my family since about 1990, 1991. And originally my grandpa's brother bought it for the drivetrain. It was a 283 Power Glide car, and it's still sporting the Power Glide, but it's not got the 283 anymore. And originally bought it for the drivetrain out of it to put in a Land Cruiser that he had, and ended up finding a 350 or a 327, something like that, and ended up just putting this back behind his house, letting it sit there in the weeds, rotting. And fast forward to, I believe, 2019, after a few years of me trying to buy it off of him, he finally priced it to me at scrap price. So I'm like, okay, here you go. And drug it home, and it sat for a long time. Yeah, 283 was locked up tight. It's still locked up. We got it sitting over in another building, but it wasn't worth it. wasn't worth trying to get it rebuilt and get it running. So I went and found this 350 from one of my buddies, and Chad Cohen from Square Body Stuff, he actually reached out to me and said, hey, if you find a small block to put in this, bring it over and we'll put it on my engine test stand to make sure everything's okay with it before we put it in your car. I'm like, okay, awesome. So I put head gaskets in this just as a precaution, you know, new top end, new lifters, stuff like that. And took it down to Chad's place and set it up on the run stand. Well, it ran good for about 5 minutes, lost all oil pressure, couldn't figure out what was going on, got a real bad knocking in the top end. So shut it down, pulled the valve cover, and one of the prevailing torque rocker arm nuts had backed off, and of course we lost our rocker arm in a push rod and lost oil pressure and all that good stuff. So Chad's just like, let's just tear it back down, rebuild it, get it done the right way. So I'm like, okay, that sounds good to me. So tore it down, ended up putting a mild cam in it and getting it put back together over there with him. He's got a couple videos on it you could go check out. And got it back to my place, got it in the car, and then went to run out my mouth, which I'm a lot better at than I care to be, and ended up locked into a race with Chad with his 78 step-side Chevy he calls Squeaky, and I didn't have the motor in the car yet. It had a locked up 283 with two heads pulled off of it trying to either break pistons or break the motor free, and all of a sudden I've got a race to win in 2 months. So I started thrashing and got the motor dropped in, went through the, well, I say went through the transmission, definitely did not go through the transmission. In fact, I put a filter in it and sent it. But thus far, up until now, it hasn't had any issues. But anyway, ordered a mini spool and went through the rear end on it, put new bearings and everything in it, and it's still got the anemic for drag racing anyway. I think it's got a 336 out back, which for power glide and highway cruising, that's great. But for 8th mile, I didn't even shift. Did the 8th mile in first gear. Still do the 8th mile in first gear. And evidently something worked, because it did what it was supposed to against Chad. And then now we're on trying to make it quicker. So get this thing fired up after it unfloods itself and get it backed off the ramps, maybe get it back outside, and I'll give you guys a walk around of this thing and kind of let you drink in Rufus and all of its rotten glory. So I've been spending this time thinking it was flooded, except for the fact that you turn the fuel pump on and you don't have fuel pressure. That doesn't scream flooded, that screams yeah, it's bone dry. So get some gas dumped in, hopefully we have a little bit better luck here. Well, it took quite a bit longer than I expected it to. Half the afternoon, well, half the morning, and it's 3 o'clock. It was 7 o'clock when I was out here working on it this morning. But anyway, got Rufus outside here, and I think it's time you guys get a proper introduction to Rufus. So this is my 1967 Impala hardtop car we call Rufus. And there's a very specific reason this car is named the way it is, and that would be because it sheds parts everywhere it goes, worse than a dog sheds hair. So kind of fits. Not gonna lie. I mean, kind of speaks for itself. Anyway, Rufus has got a $350, about $350. Nothing fancy, just headers. It's got a comp thumper in it, which if I'd have realized I was going to be racing when I made a cam selection, it would not have been a comp thumper. But electric fans, blue top, I'd say it's pretty mint. Until you get in here, and then, well, just ignore, don't pay so much attention to this. It's fine. It's fine. So, this is Rufus. So you guys remember earlier when I said that I sometimes run my mouth a little bit? Well, it's got me in trouble once again. I've got myself locked into a race with one of my friends here, and I'm probably gonna lose. His car is a lot faster than mine, or in theory should be a lot faster than mine. We'll just say that he's got about 1,200 pounds on me, but I've got something on my sleeve here. Hopefully it works out, but I'm not telling you guys what it is. I will say it's still gonna be a small block, so we're gonna leave it at that. And I guess I will also say Rufus is gonna get put on a diet. We're gonna do everything we can to shave as much weight out of this as we possibly can, little as it may be. You know, fender wells might be going, battery might be in a different spot. I don't know yet. We'll see. I've got about 3 months to get it ready, and yeah, we're just gonna have to pull something out of our butts here. So I've got a plan. You'll just have to stick around to figure out what that plan is. And speaking of plans, my plan for the upcoming week or weekend, this thing's getting brakes. And how simple it's gonna be, actually. You know, I can just stand up and mess with the bleeders on them. It's gonna be pretty great, actually. But yeah, that's my plan for next weekend. Get brakes on Hermit, and possibly take this thing on its maiden voyage, or at least its maiden voyage since I've owned it. Anyway, it's about time for me to get ready to head back up north so I can go to work tomorrow. I'm gonna finish this one off here. I hope you guys enjoyed your introduction to Rufus, instead of just seeing it in the background of everything for the last, well, year. And yeah, I'm gonna finish this one off here. More work to come very soon on this thing, and I've got 3 months. Probably gonna lose, but we're gonna do everything we can. Maybe I won't lose, probably gonna lose. Anyway, if you're liking what you're watching, like, subscribe, and share it with a friend, please. And making a push for No Name Nationals this September. That'll be, well, shoot, I don't even remember. I don't want to tell you guys wrong. So if you like what you're watching, please consider subscribing. I appreciate it, and I will catch you guys later.